Welcome, sports fans. I'm Craig Cortello.
And I'm Kyle Cortello.
And we are
the Italian Sports Guys.
Bada boom.
Bada bang.
Leave the gun.
Take the cannolis you hear.
It's a weekly sports talk show with an Italian New Orleans twist. So grab a beer or a little red vino.
Some pizza pie or some pasta marinara you hear.
Throw on your favorite sports jersey.
Join us. Why don't you?
All right, I'm going to be back here at Studio 58. Good to be back with the ISG Nation after a couple weeks off. And
Benvenuti, Craigie boy.
Benvenuti. And good to be back on a Saints win for the first time this season, of course.
Since our childhood, it feels like.
Seems like. I will say,
a lot longer ago for you than me.
Yeah, true. I will say this, there's a lot not to like, even in a victory. We'll get into some of the dirty details, but give Saints credit. They had to get a win here, and the difference here, of course, was they made the big plays at the key moments, something we hadn't done the last 4 games.
Big difference in the entire game.
Sure.
You know, you can go back to specific plays. I thought that what really changed the complexion of the whole vibe in the dome was the completion to Shaheed, a long touchdown, 83 yards or whatever it was. Which was great play, great throw, great catch, and nobody catches Rashid Shaheed. Yeah. But more than that, it was the fact that this town, this organization, that locker room, particularly Kellen Moore and his staff, needed to win and went and got one.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you start with the offense. You look at the quarterback Spencer Rattler. He needed a win as well. I mean, you never know when the coach is saying the right things about his performance. Eventually, you keep losing games, he starts to get the itch. So I think Rattler needed this game, and I think he needed that play too. We needed to have a deep threat. You put that on film for these teams coming the next couple of weeks. They said that it was the fastest anybody had run this year in the NFL, 22.72 miles an hour. And, they tell you, if you're going 22-23 in pads, that is flying.
Yeah, that's cruising. And so, I think at some point, to your point, is staffs and fan bases, organizations will say, make the change just to give us a spark.
Yeah,
it's never fair to a guy who's a starter who's playing pretty well. And Rattler's been playing well enough. Right. Yeah. But I tell you, one of the things that really made a difference for me, we were all season long, the completion percentage was high. He wasn't turning the ball over. Yeah. But, man, we were the dink and dunk champs.
Yeah,
if there was a dink and dunk award, dink and dunker of the year, we were going to get it. We're the front runner. Yeah. And for them to get some chunk plays, and boy, they felt really good about themselves after that, and you could see it on the sidelines, and you could feel it in the dome. It was a feeling I hadn't felt in a little bit in there.
Yeah, and that kind of obviously opens things up. I mean, Olabi had a pretty good game, 7 catches for 59 yards. And
right over the sticks a lot of times.
Yeah, some third down conversions. We did better than that. We were 7 of 15 this week, so did better on third down. So that was important as well. And, he's been avoiding the turnover. I think he's got 1 interception all season, so he's avoiding the turnover. He made some nice plays, extending plays behind the line with his feet.
Yeah, and look, you mentioned the Saints, going 7 for 15, on third down. Yeah. We held them to 3 of 10 on third down. They say a lot of things in this league. Don't turn the ball over, win third down. Be decent at running and decent at stopping the run. Thought we gave up a lot of yards on the ground, but again, negated it a lot of times. They had 5 turnovers. Yeah. So I thought, all in all, every unit outside of maybe the kicking field goal unit had a chance had something to celebrate after this game. And, of course, you can celebrate all of it with the win. Tell you something else, too. I thought Kool-Aid McKinstry, I saw it in the Buffalo game because I have been almost on a crusade against his effort. It's never been about the talent. It's, how many rookies have come into the league like you did last year and refused. I get it if you're maybe you're in a contract year in year 3 or 4. I understand some of the business decisions they call them.
Yeah, right.
To maybe avoid contact. Not the way a lot of people we know would play it, but but that happens. And he started in the Buffalo game, which was a loss. He was very aggressive in run support, or more aggressive, and you could see how good he can be on Sunday when he really turned it up a notch. Was in on a lot of tackles, and Jordan Howden does not score on that punt, on that fumble return.
Great effort, right?
If McKinstry doesn't run stride for stride with that receiver and get in the way.
Yeah, that's a nice play.
He's trying to run him down. So I've been very hard on him. I want to tip my hat to the guy because I thought he played a hell of a game on Saturday.
Yeah, a little bit of effort on those returns can make a big difference.
Got to use your head though on them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But the running backs, a lot not to like. We had 2.9 yards to carry. That's just not going to cut it. Now I don't think a running back seemed to be running hard. We just didn't seem to open up lanes for them. I will say this, in absence of a running game, the Saints did a pretty good job of keeping Spencer Rattler clean, no sacks on the day, so that was a positive. This kid Mill, again, if he stays healthy, really running hard, really looks good in the backfield.
Well, you have what is still a very special talent in Alvin Kamara. Yeah. So if Kendre Miller can continue to do what he really did on Sunday and has shown flashes of all season, it makes Kamara that much more dangerous because you can, again, 30-year-old running backs aren't going to tote the rock 25 times a game.
Sure.
But you get him his 13 to 17 touches, depending on the flow of the game, then you really got some there because he's still as dangerous as he can be, just not as many times during the course of the game. So I think that's one of those guys. You start looking at who made the plays.
Yeah.
These are homegrown
guys,
draft guys, young guys that we drafted.
Yeah.
And we always talked about this, man. What happened to the days of building it through the draft? I get all the taking the shots and trying to win another Super Bowl when Sean and Drew were here and trading 3 picks to get one higher up. I get all that. But we're not that team anymore, Jack. So to start building the next foundation, laying the next foundation for the next generation of players, you need to do it through the draft.
Yeah.
And I thought those picks are starting to, for all the crap people are trying to give Mickey Loomis right now.
Yeah, right.
I thought he and Jeff Ireland had some picks that contributed in many different levels of that game this past Sunday.
Yeah, you're starting to see some of the pieces for the foundation for the future, of course. And I think they have found a nice balance between Miller and Kamara. I hope they continue to do that. Keep the burden too much off of Kamara.
Looks like Kendra Miller bought in a lot more with this coaching staff than he was with Dennis Allen.
It sure does, yeah. Some of the bugaboos we had this week, the red zone just continues to kill. 0 for 3 in the red zone. We kicked 6 field goals. The kid made 4 of them, but he missed 2. And that's not a good enough percentage to continue to play in this league. 2 out of 3. That's 60-some%. That's the way kickers are kicking the ball these days. And particularly the second one. We had it's only 2 minutes left, so you're probably going to win a game anyway. But you had a chance to extend it from 12 to 15. If there's 6 or 7 minutes left in that game, that's a huge kick. You got to make
time.
Yeah,
big time. Look, there's the number of possessions and all that stuff. This is the way you plan your drive. There's a lot more into it than we missed it. Like Kellen Moore saying, okay, we're going to do this on this play, run some clock, we get a field goal, it adds a possession for them, or they need a 2-point conversion, whatever it may exactly be.
Yeah.
And he misses a 40-something yarder or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't have that. And this kid has missed 5 field goals in 5 games.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay,
That's too much.
That's way too much. Where's the accountability factor? Now look, the fact that Kellen Moore's not getting up on a podium, pounding his fist and saying the kid needs to do better or else, like maybe Sean would have done, or a lot of coaches in the league will kind of dress in a different manner. It damn well better be being addressed behind closed doors.
Yeah,
if
sure.
it's just this, come on, hey, you really got to find it. You missed a few putts.
Yeah,
no, sir.
right.
I mean, and this, so it's nut cutting time, though. Pardon the pun for Blake Groupie right now, because if he keeps missing like this, it's going to cost him a game, and then everybody's going to say, you knew this 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why? Why not bring somebody else in and press the kid?
Yeah, there's too many
Charlie
guys.
Smith is that good on the practice squad every year. Last 2 years we carried him.
Right.
Why not activate him? Or at least make him think you're activating.
Yeah, I mean, there's too many kickers out there that you could go to let this go on too far. And
these aren't pressure kicks that he's missing. Either, So it makes it even worse.
12 points. And special teams in general. I mean, the punter had only 2 punts, but the one, again, key moment in the game, it's 6:37 left. He kicks the ball 32 yards, gives them the ball at the 36-yard line. That's horrible. You set them up for a short field right there. The Giants had 5 kick returns, 160 yards, so he averaged 32 yards a return. So just in general, special teams was awful.
Right.
Looking at the defensive side, I want to point out, you've been high on this safety for the Saints, and he really making some plays the last couple of weeks. He really looks like we talk about one of those foundational pieces for the future.
Back to the comment about the draft. I love watching this kid play. I mean, he has that it factor.
Yeah.
I watched him in the preseason game is when I really started to say, okay, when we drafted him, we had passed on, I think, if I remember this correctly, we passed on a second-team All-American named Billy Bowman from Oklahoma. Marquee school, Tiffany brand, pretty good player. All right, why did we pass on him and go with Sanker?
Right.
And I'm looking at the measurables on Sanker. He's 6 foot, he's 200 pounds. Ran a 4.43. I said, okay, so more athletic.
Right.
Can he move his hips and cover? There's a lot of guys who are super fast who can't turn their hips, get lost in coverage. I'm almost saying, why isn't this guy a corner?
Yeah.
And then I watched a little bit of his highlight reel, and I said, okay, he's a safety because he knocks the crap out of him. So that's good.
That's a good sign.
Is he going to be a liability in coverage?
Right.
Watching one of the preseason games, and it's like the second or third one, and there was a run and play, a sweep to the Saints defensive left. So the outside linebacker or the linebacker's coming and the corner's coming up. he passes both of them up just to make the contact at the sidelines.
Right.
I said, okay, my kind of guy here.
Yeah, right.
And
Looking for the contact.
boy, he is. He comes downhill with the head of steam, but he's good enough to play in coverage too. So I'm totally, as you can tell, I like the play.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'll stop.
Yeah. I'll look at the, it's nice to get 5 turnovers, but, you can't count on it every week. I want to say they're lucky because you create turnovers, of course, but you can't count on that. So, part of that comes back to, you should have blown this team out with 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
It goes back to the red zone and the missed field goals. But I'll say there were 3, there was 3, the Brazil punch that ran back for a touchdown.
Another draft pick.
Another draft pick. And Brazil had apparently he was the highest rated. He's a 90 rating from Pro Football Focus. He had never had an 80 before, so he had a batted down pass under pressure, and also that fumble was huge. Kool-Aid's second interception, very athletic play, was nice. And the one where Shepard, where the guys are rallying to the ball, the wide receiver running across the middle. The 2 that were, Jackson Dog put the ball on the ground for us. That's kind of a gift on one. And then the Kool-Aid number 1, first interception, you're supposed to drop it. I mean, it's 4th down.
Yeah, that was.
You gave
that's
up,
the part I wonder about him.
Yeah, I mean, well, you gave up. I looked at you gave about 30 yards of field position from the 38 to the 5, and they go about 27 yards on that drive and end up with 4th and a foot from their own 40-yard line of 38. You would have been at the 35 of the other team, so you probably go for it. So again, it's about that situational awareness you have to get better at.
You can't tell me Demario Davis didn't say no. Knock it down.
Right. Somebody
said it.
Has to be saying that up there. But anyway, also a big play that turned out to be big later. They had a flea flicker with a wide open receiver, and this kid goes back to get beaten badly, but stayed with the play and didn't run the man over. Got
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Terrell Burgess looks like an athlete.
Yeah.
So he was with Staley in Los Angeles when he was with the Rams or Chargers. And so he knows kind of sort of what they're doing. And according to local draft analyst Mike DeTillier, he was saying this guy had some promise coming out. He might have been a higher round pick. Started some games and then I fell out of favor. I think somebody just beat him out. But he knows what he's doing in Staley's defense. He looks more athletic than I'd seen him than I remember him being from just in the preseason.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We mentioned Saints did a better job on 3rd down finally. We were horrendous in some of the previous games, even on 3rd and long. You like to say stop the run game and put them in 3rd and long. We weren't even stopping 3rd and long, but 3 for 10 this week. Now the Giants were 3 for 5 on 4th down, but again, if you're forcing 4th downs,
that means you're behind.
Good thing. So 4th and 3rd combined, they were 40%, which is not too bad. I thought Jackson Dart, look, a little ahead of his skis. He had 1 win, and he's talking trash about the Saints,
chip on his shoulder.
Look, a lot of guys play with the chip on his shoulder. Look, Aaron Rodgers played with his whole career after dropping in the draft. You don't come out publicly in press conferences and say it. Keep it to yourself. Go inner strength and put it to him. Let you play and do the talking. So I thought it was a bad move on his part.
Well, nobody was. Look, he went at pick 25.
Yeah, right.
We deferred. We had a pick at number 9.
A lot of teams passed on him.
Like 14 other teams. I did do the math. Yeah, 16 other teams passed on him right there.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a playing with a chip on my shoulder. And my goodness, man, come on.
Yeah.
And then he comes in and lays an egg.
Yeah, right. So anyway, it's good for the Saints to get a win. Good for the crowd. Good for the quarterback. Good for the coach. We'll look ahead to the New England Patriots in just a minute. But any other thoughts on the Saints before we move on, Kyle?
No, just how much different things are around here when they win, and they really needed it, man. They really did, because you usually have that really long honeymoon period when you have a new coaching staff and everything is so new and a lot of younger guys playing. People were losing patience fast.
Yeah,
and you want to say, as a fan, you want to say, man, the armchair quarterbacks, pipe down a little bit here. We got a new thing. We're building something.
Yeah.
But it was getting to where, especially at the Seattle game, they looked so lost.
Yeah.
That you're like, okay, this might not be it.
Yeah.
Because we've seen other people come into other places and win right away. And so I think more than anything, this gives them a pretty good amount of breathing room. And a game that, look, they're 3.5-point underdogs, I think, Sunday.
Yeah.
But this is a team that won a big game like the Giants did the week before. Yeah. Won a game against the Buffalo Bills. Give the Bills their first loss Sunday night. They lose half a day on a Sunday night game. The game got moved from 3 o'clock to noon on Sunday coming up.
Yeah.
So a few little things are lining up to where the Patriots, like the Giants, might be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, right.
And discarding us a little bit, and I hope they do.
Yeah, we'll see that this happen. All right, Kyle. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the vibe, even when you say we don't expect a lot for this team this year,
right.
but the vibe when you win a game, even in a season where you don't really think you're playing for a lot.
It's different. We know this city. It's so different around South Louisiana when they win.
Different vibe, absolutely.
It's not constant defeat.
Yeah,
we got a break from being losers.
Yeah, right. That's it. All right,
football.
Moving to the LSU Tigers. God, we saw some chinks in the armor the first 4 weeks of the season, but we were 4-0, so we didn't really think too much of it. We have some injury issues at quarterback. The team wasn't playing quite to their standard, and then they finally caught up with us against Ole Miss. Now, you can overcome this. Ole Miss is a good team. They move up. I think they're number 4 now after beating LSU. So you can overcome that loss, but they have some things to improve on. They have to get well at quarterback.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that, look, teams don't disclose injuries for a variance of reasons, right? I don't know why you wouldn't at least get the other kid ready to play until Nuss was healthy.
Yeah.
Though he never should have played him against Southeastern. Fighting self was a juggernaut in their own right in the Southland Conference. But no, I thought that was kind of the wrong decision, and he's on the tail end of this thing. Maybe the kid pushed for it.
Yeah.
I want to play. It might be a stat padding game a little bit, But I would have sat him. Okay, you're the adult in the room. It's your program. You got to say, hey, you need to get healthy. He's not healthy. If you watch him against throws that he made last year in the same scenario, the kid can whip it.
Yeah.
He rips it, man. He can spin it. And all of a sudden, he can't make a 35-yard pass down the field without it fluttering a little bit. It means he's hurt. You have an offensive line that hasn't proven to be as good as even they had hoped, and they're all new starters.
Yeah.
Ole Miss got constant pressure with the 3-man rush.
Yeah.
No blitz. They weren't sending anybody. She got 8 guys in coverage, man.
Yeah, right.
Okay, again, with a quarterback who's not completely healthy. Defense kept them in that game, played their asses off, I thought.
Right.
But they were on the field for 49 plays to 23 at halftime.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I don't care if it's the 85 Bears. Eventually you run out of gas.
Right.
And so I think that has a lot to do with it. LSU has got to find some type of running game. Thought they eventually did a little bit better against Ole Miss, and Caden Durham was out. So if they can get a little bit of a running game against South Carolina, who's a very good team with a tremendous quarterback, who's a bull.
Yeah.
He's 6'5", 235, 240 pounds. And they have us circled from last year, by the way, because we stole one in Columbia.
Yeah, right.
If LSU can establish a little bit of a running game, and Nuss is indeed a little bit healthy or healthy enough, LSU's got a very good chance to win that game. They are opened at 9.5-point favorites, and now they're 8.5-point favorites. I think LSU finds out a way to get it done. But to me, taking South Carolina in the points is the lock of the week. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. It's hard to think what you've seen of LSU so far with a banged up quarterback. Apparently, that feel good about spotting that many points to a pretty good quality team. And certainly, we have to get back on our feet this week. We run the gauntlet. We got at Vandy, no cinch there. Good Vandy team. We got A&M at home. A&M I think is undefeated, and then we go to Alabama. So there's going to be 3 tough ones following this one. So this is the week. You got to get a win. You got to get right. Yeah,
the Tigers, if they still have college football playoff aspirations, can afford one more loss, I believe, and it's got to be to one of those good teams,
Yeah. So just want to touch upon. They had some other things happening in NCAA football. One of the big games of the week was UCLA stepping up. They were an awful winless team. I think 0-4. Penn State obviously was going to be a little hungover, but you figured they had enough to beat this team. This was a game-changing win from both of these programs.
Program-changing win for both programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this the count might be on for this coach who Penn State has been here 12 years, and expectations are high.
Well, he fields a very, very good team every year.
Yeah, solid.
Recruits very well. There's a tremendous history there, and they continuously lose to teams top 5, top 10, certainly top 5 teams. His record against top 5 teams is abysmal.
Yeah.
Take nothing away from what he's built there as a program.
Yeah.
So they kind of had Oregon on the ropes and lost that one, but it's Oregon. I get it.
Yeah,
to go out to Southern California against, I think there were maybe 5,000 people in the stands at the freaking Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And get down 27-7 at the half.
Yeah, something.
And a bunch of questionable coaching in-game decisions I'm hearing about, reading about too. I saw some of the highlights. The fun part was Rick Neuheisel's son.
Yeah, they cleaned house with the coaching staff. He was the offense coordinator, I believe, for UCLA. Yeah, so they had
they moved him up, I guess. To
right. Yeah, so it was interesting all that. But in a week of turmoil, they still managed, 0-4, still managed to beat this team. That was quite a win.
Well, the students. Did you see the picture of the students on
the
field?
Couldn't fill out the field.
And the families. Oh wait, that's the student section
rushing the field.
Right. It looked like a geography class just left out earlier. Saturday detention.
Right.
And, all right, you got to storm the field, and then I'll let y'all go home.
Yeah.
But kudos to them. But the bigger picture here is how much more rope does James Franklin get over there with the Penn State faithful, because they're used to winning.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, and they have expectations this year with a quarterback coming back from last year.
Yeah, Drew Aller.
Yeah, so anyway. Any more thoughts on college football before we jump back to the?
Yeah, Tulane has a big one tomorrow night. If you're out and about uptown New Orleans, man, the Green Wave is hosting East Carolina, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, good team. All right, jumping back to NFL, Kyle, but looking back at last week, crazy week in the NFL.
Nuts.
We had 6 games where teams overcame a 10-point deficit, which is a whole bunch. What impressed you on the good side, and what disappointed? What teams or players disappointed you on the bad side?
Impressive to me, and I know they played the Jets, so I'm going to say it again. I am not a Cowboys guy, but I don't hate them either. But Dallas under Schottenheimer is kind of holding pretty steady.
Yeah,
and I don't mean just they're 2-2 great,
or
whatever their record is now. But they look like they're organized. They look like they kind of have it together a little bit, and that's maybe the other side of being Marty Schottenheimer. I've never been a giant Marty Schottenheimer fan. Yeah. I never was. I just didn't like a lot of the way he did things, Yeah. I think he ran his teams into the ground.
Yeah, right.
And the son is maybe... So I didn't know, but the fact that Marty was around-the-clock a football guy and his son seems to have some of that, has given some stability to an organization that has had anything but over the last several years with Jerry Jones. And so that was, to me, that's one of the goods. The other is the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
so
what
it's
an
a serious
impressive
fight, which concerns me with them coming to town.
Yeah, sure.
They fought their asses off against a tremendous Buffalo team and kind of beat them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Or stayed with them punch for punch and then had enough skill to win the game.
Yeah, for sure. And Dak Prescott in the early conversation for MVP as well.
Never saw that coming.
Yeah, I'll look at, the teams that overcame the deficits were the Broncos, the Panthers, the Titans, Commanders, Jags, and Saints. On the impressive side, I thought, Mac Jones and 49ers going a banged up team going on, to play LA and win that game. Had a lot of fans in the stands on their side too, but still an impressive win for them to get. And Mac Jones has played well, subbing for Brock Purdy. Indianapolis really looks like a solid team. If the playoffs start today, they'd have 1 seed with a bye, so that tells you something. And Danny Jones has resurrected his career. They got a really good offensive line. You got Taylor running football. Denver coming back and beating Philly. Even though Philly's not been overly impressive in winning, that's a big win, down 14 on the road.
Vic Fangio's defense that they came back on.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
serious.
No doubt. And then Bucks Seattle, those quarterbacks, and that game just was so impressive. I mean, that's 2 good teams who are going to be fighting for playoff spots and could make a deep run. And, these quarterback reclamation projects we talked about, Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, all these guys playing well, Mayfield against, Darnold. On the bad side, I have to start with Arizona. What a disaster of a loss. They had a chance to go up, 28-6. If the kid doesn't drop the ball after a 72-yard run, which is just...
I'll never understand that.
Unfathomable. If I'm a coach this week in the NFL, any team, I'm going to do drills where I tell the guys, run over the goal line and out the end zone and then drop or spike the ball. That's just unfathomable as many times as it happens.
I don't understand what these kids are thinking. I'll tell you this. You have rookies in preseason who you're undrafted free agents who you're probably pretty sure who are going to get cut.
Yeah.
They have a touchdown dance choreographed, sometimes with another player. Right. Like, okay, when does that become so important? Like, to me, I don't want to sound like I'm yelling, get off my lawn, but pay attention to the stuff that needs attention, that requires attention.
Yeah, choreograph.
And you get that when you're a star.
Right.
This catch a ball on a, 1st and 10, you catch a 7-yard out and you...
Yeah, right.
What is all of that? Now, again, I get the idea the other guy's probably chirping in your ear a little bit.
Yeah, right.
But somewhere along the line, the celebration turned from you giving one of your boys on the team a high five or whatever you want to call it, to all of a sudden, immediately you catch the ball, you stare at the cornerback you beat, or if you're on their sidelines, you stare at their sidelines and say something, and then all of a sudden, this is how shit happens, this is how stuff gets bad,
right.
this is how fights start in games.
Yeah.
And so, Jim Miller on NFL Sirius said, this is him talking, I've played football since I'm 7 years old, up until I was physically unable to play anymore, which for him was in his mid-30s, I think, early 30s. Right. Played quarterback for a long time. He said, from Pee-wee, clear Tiny Tot shout out, through junior high, through high school, through college, NFL, not one time anywhere along the way did any coach at any level say, look, right when you get across the goal line, you want to flip the ball.
Yeah.
So this comes from somewhere that has nothing to do with fundamentals of football.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders was the best running back I ever saw, probably.
Yeah.
and he handed the ball to the referee every time. You want to stand out now? Do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, yeah. You want to.
A lot of the dances are really bad. I saw this.
Yeah. You want to choreograph the blocking schematics when the guy blitzes.
Right.
That's your choreography.
At least get that part.
Get
first.
that part down. Yeah.
But I get the release of, man, let's celebrate. Hey, they've been talking crap. Let's kind of celebrate in front of them, get in their head a little bit. I get all that, and that's fine. Look, I didn't score a bunch of touchdowns in my illustrious career, and I did. The arms went up. You know,
Right,
you don't. To do that is just beyond me. I don't understand.
Yeah, so many things have to go right for your team to make touchdowns and to win games, and to blow it on plays like that is just crazy.
Yeah, and then the coach has to end up apologizing for his action.
Right.
Like, what planet are we on? Now, I get what he did is not cool. You don't do that.
Yeah.
And I know what it is, though. He's scared to lose the locker room now.
Yeah, right.
So now I have to apologize publicly to the player who cost me a game. Look, I don't have the most secure footing in the NFL as a head coach if you're Gannon or whatever the hell his name is. Right. And so now here he is saying, well, if the locker room quits on me, I'm out.
Yeah.
So now I have to issue this apology publicly to a player who did about the stupidest thing you can do.
Yeah. Well,
so
anyway, I do think the fumble
and I have him in fantasy.
But the fumbles out the end zone, whether intentional or not, they need to change that rule. It's crazy to me that a fumble that goes into the end zone and is a touchback for the other team. When any other time you fumble the ball, to me, you should back them up 20 yards as a penalty.
They get a touchback, touchback, put it on the 20.
20, get them, let them keep the ball, whatever.
Yeah.
Something's got to change there. The Jets, quite a disappointment. They looked like they laid down for Dallas.
let me adjust them to the ugly.
Yeah, so you go out and you bring in a head coach to solidify the defensive side of the ball because he's a defensive mind. 0 turnovers through 5 games. That doesn't look good on a coach's resume.
I will tell you, Aaron Glenn was at one point the front runner here.
Yeah.
Would have been happy to have him.
Yeah.
I like Aaron Glenn a lot. Aaron Glenn is a culture guy. I don't know that his defenses in Detroit were that great.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Who's his DC now? Is it Steve Wilkes?
I'm not sure.
So, but and I don't know if it's a severe lack of talent or lack of scheme or a lack of both, but they're bad.
Yeah.
And Mike Greenberg, obviously everyone knows, eternal Jets fan or whatever, is saying, he says, this is going nowhere.
Yeah, right.
And when he says that in week 5,
you
got problems.
Yeah, it's a tough start for head coach's career.
But they might be picking first.
Yeah, and at some point you also look at there's been a lot of guys fail in certain franchises. You look at places like the Jets and other locations, the Browns and whatever teams you want to point to. So sometimes maybe the coaches and the players can't overcome bad organizations anyway. The other bad I'm gonna give is I'm gonna talk about AJ Brown. Look, this Eagles team was 4-0, and he sent out a tweet or something last week complaining about, I guess I need to be moving on or something along those lines because he wasn't getting the ball. And this is a team that's run first with a Saquon Barkley at running back. So what happens in this game, they go out and they feed the ball to him, they feed the ball to Devontae Smith, and, it's not really their identity. Saquon can get like four touches and 4 rushes in the game. So they move away from that identity to appease the chirping wide receiver. Right, and they still should have won the game, obviously, but it's bad for the locker room when a team is having success and people are complaining.
We had this very same problem with the player here.
Yeah, right.
And we had beat the snot out of a pretty bad Rams team, I think 49 to something.
Yeah.
And his comment after the game was complaining about something, and they asked him about it. He said, closed mouths don't get fed. And he was gone soon.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and that's what winning teams are going to do.
Yeah, right.
And so I don't know look, what really matters most of these players now, you really don't know.
Yeah.
Most of them, it's winning and being in a good locker room. Some of these guys, they want the money.
Yeah.
And if without all the catches, he's not going to get all the money. And that's probably what he's thinking. And I get it. Like, you're not doing this for free. You're sacrificing your body.
Yeah.
But I think he's made some pretty good money so far already. Do you want to keep playing on a winner? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's.
Or you're not getting open.
There's speculation he's made a lot of money, but that his head now is on the Hall of Fame, and he wants to put up the numbers to get there. But championships help you in that regard. Too,
yeah, be on the winning team.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, Kyle. Moving on from the NFL back to the Saints. We touched upon it. They played the pretty good New England team with a pretty good quarterback who's improving and looked really good last week. He made some plays in that final drive. They went like a 37-yard scored drives to kick that final field goal after they had blown a 10-point lead. But he made a play, stiff arming the defender with great strength, threw the ball on the money. So Drake May looks good. This team looks good. They're certainly an improving team. It looks like they're buttoned up with a good head coach now.
Tough-nosed, hard-nosed head coach.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs had a huge game. Now I don't know. He didn't have any huge games before that one. Maybe he had that one circled. So he may not have the same kind of game against the Saints, but certainly the weapons to give us some problems.
Yeah. Look, this is not an awful roster.
Yeah.
They were probably 3 years ago.
Yep.
But even last year, Gerard Mayo lasted 1 year as head coach, but they improved the talent around him.
Yeah.
One of the places they were lacking is wide receiver.
Yeah.
Well, Stephon Diggs is there now, too.
Yeah.
Trevion Henderson is the rookie tailback who was Ohio State's guy last year. I'm really high on this kid. He hasn't broken out yet this year, but watch out because I think he's a friggin' player. And then again, the personality of Mike Vrabel is they're going to fight you tooth and nail for everything.
Right.
So, and he's got a screw loose in a good way to me.
Right.
I like coaches like Vrabel who are just, Jim Haslett was like that. Yeah, you might be beat me, but I'll without equipment, I'll come out on the field and fight you. So.
All right, Kyle, you got to predict. We predicted on the LSU. I think we both like the points. What about on the Saints plus 3.5? How do you like that one?
I like home dogs in the NFL. Look, New England certainly has the capability to come in here and smack us around compared to what both teams have showed this year.
Yeah.
But a lot of little things going in our favor. Maybe a little bit of a letdown for the Patriots coming off a big win against the Bills on the road again. They played Sunday night, so they kind of lose a half day of prep. This was going to be a 3 o'clock game on Sunday. They moved it to noon.
Yeah.
Now you're getting start to where you get into week 6, and everything counts a little bit from terms of rest. I think the Saints got a little bit of confidence that they maybe needed last week. And I think you got a rejuvenated fan base to a degree because there were a lot of empty seats.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of Giants fans there.
Yeah.
And look, we're a destination city. I get that. It's
Yeah.
easy to come here and walk to the stadium.
Right.
That's great. But at some point, that old home field advantage that we had before needs to come back. And you don't do that by selling your freaking tickets to the other team.
Yeah, right.
Fans. So I think a few things are lining up in the Saints' favor. So I'll take the Saints plus the 3.5 if I'm betting that one.
I'm gonna go New England minus the points. I hope I'm wrong.
Loser.
I think
No one
they're
likes you.
a solid team, but the start of that Saints game concerned me. The 14-3 start. I just don't know if we can overcome that against a different team than the Giants. All right, moving up, wrapping it up, Kyle. I want to give a shout out to our Raiders. You were on the play-by-play. A big win over Brother Martin, 31-7 at the Joe on Friday.
At the Joe Friday night, and thoroughly impressed with not just the talent on the defense is very good, but the scheme that Nick Monica drew up.
Yeah.
The best player in the state, definitely the best player in the city, might be Easton Royal from Brother Martin. He's a 5-star wide receiver who I believe is a defending 100 and 200-meter champ in the state. And if he's not defending, he's second place.
Yeah.
And he's only a junior, and he was tearing up everybody he played this year.
Had a long touchdown against Jersey.
Last year against Rummel, Rummel's up 14-3, controlling the game. He breaks free twice, takes to the house, 17-14, Brother Martin win.
Yeah.
Rummel beat him 31-7 and dominated. And Brother Martin's got other talented players, too.
Yeah.
And I thought that the scheme on defense, and I think Chris Parker Jr. Is a true high school ball hawk kind of guy. He really knows what's going on. Yeah. Not going to put him in a Donovan Kaufman class yet, but he reminded me of that. So.
Gotcha. Okay, then finally we're going to jump on the real quick on the playoffs in Major League Baseball. Right now, Toronto's leading the Yankees 2-1. I believe they're up 5-1 late in the game, so tough to turn around for the Yankees there. Detroit and Seattle. Detroit wins Game 4, so go back to Seattle for Game 5. We got the Brewers leading the Cubs 2-1. Cubs win at home today, 4-3 squeak. But they got up early and squeaked out a win. And the Dodgers are up 2-0 playing the Phillies tonight, so they can close this one out. They won 2 on the road, so they come back home and can close out in LA.
Yeah, it's the best of 5.
Yeah, you're right. You got a prediction for World Series participants?
Well, I got a hope. I have a hope first. I'm hoping for the Mariners and the Cubs. I'm a Cubs fan since WGN. I'm 10 years old, And the Mariners, kind of a team that I've jumped on since they drafted Kate Anderson out of LSU. And they're a fun bunch to watch because they have done it the right way, drafting and building their farm system. But watching all these games, I think that the two best teams right now are the Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers. So I don't hope either one of them makes it because I hope the Yankees beat the Blue Jays. And I certainly hope the Cubs beat the Brewers. But if I'm thinking with the cabeza and not the heart, I gotta call those two Blue Jays and Brewers is who I think is going to win.
And winner in how many games?
I'm going to say it's going to go to full 7, and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to win their first World Series.
How about that?
Forever long.
Okay. I'm going to go, I think Seattle's going to go home and win that Game 5 and make it to make it to the next level and get to the series. I think the Dodgers on the other side are going to be pretty tough. That's just such a lineup they have. I was watching, and of course, my Reds made the postseason, but they couldn't compete with that lineup. So I think it's Seattle and Dodgers, and I think the Dodgers are going to repeat. I think the Dodgers are going to do it in 6 games.
All right, go ahead.
All right, and finally, word to our sponsors, Luca Eats, Uptown.
7329 Cone Street, not far from Tulane's campus
Stadium, yep.
and the new Tulane Stadium. No, on the other side. It's on right off of Broadway on the corner of Cone and Lower Line. Open 6 days a week, breakfast and lunch, some great coffees, paninis, some specialty dishes, really, really good. Go by and see Daryl and Ellen and say hello. Some outdoor seating already set up. It's getting to be that time of year.
Perfect. Yeah,
They're doing very well with the Tulane games, you know.
Yep, and you got Mid-City Pizza Uptown, 4400 Bank Street.
4400 Bank Street, best pizza in the city, trust me. I ate a lot of pie, and I can tell you that it's genuinely fantastic pizza. Best crust around, and all the ingredients are natural. You pay a little extra for it, it's worth every bite.
It certainly is, that's right. And also, for all your insurance needs, Brian Scheck State Farm on Causeway.
North Causeway, a local guy taking care of local families.
That's it.
So.
Okay, until next week, we are
The Italian Sports Guy.
Bada boom.
Bada bing.